Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Friday Night Live yet again here with the Page Crew. We are exceptionally excited to have you join us this evening, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on Twitch. All of those platforms are available to you to join us and to subscribe. So if you're interested in following us on multiple platforms, which of course you should, those are the three that you can find this simulcast live stream take place. Joining me this evening, as always, is the Page Crew. We've got Jen, Ed, and Ron tonight, and we have two very, very, very special guests to chat with a little bit later on. But to start off, how's everyone doing this evening? How were our weeks?
Pretty good, Phil. It's been kind of a long week for me, but I am so glad it's Friday and I'm excited for the weekend.
Indeed, right.
My work week was kind of crazy, so I'm happy that it's the weekend, although it's not going to slow down much.
Ron, sorry, Ed. Go ahead.
That was it. I was just glad to be here.
Ron, I think you were in West Virginia this week, were you not?
Unfortunately, I was. Yes, I was in West Virginia. Also, was up late last night preparing our. Oh my! What is that, Ed?
That is my Colton Cowser hat.
That is utterly ridiculous.
Jeez! Wow! Ouch! Pull the plug on this live stream. Pull the plug now. Awful. Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, the week behind us and the weekend ahead of us. So hopefully a little bit of a relaxing and relaxing. What is it? What does it want to say? R&R. How about that? Relaxing. For all of us. Yeah, there you go. This weekend, my work week was pretty easy. I'm very excited so far this school year because I've got a great schedule. My kids are pretty good. Everything it's like the easiest beginning of a school year I've had in probably like almost 10 years. So my work stress is really low right now, which is very welcome. So, but anyway, none of that. Let's move on. Our guest this evening, we have two. First, we have Matt Forbeck is going to be joining us in just a few short moments here. And we're going to be talking about Matt. We're going to talk to Matt about his background, projects that he's working on. We're going to be talking to him about what he's got going on at Page in January. And then a little bit later, we're going to be talking to Mike Webb. Mike Webb is the general manager for WizKids. And I know myself, I know Ed, and I'm sure all of us are big fans of WizKids products. I have a basement full of stuff with WizKids on the box. So we're very excited. Hey, Chet Minton is in the chat. Hey, Chet, how are you this evening? So I think it's time maybe we bring in our first guest, Matt.
Can we do something else real quick before we do that?
Ron,
this is a little break from tradition, but I want to draw attention to a fundraiser that's happening now.
Yes.
And this is everybody knows Stan, the iconic illustrator. He's going through a bit of a downtime right now, and he's looking to support a little bit of a comeback. He could use a boost financially, and as you can see, we just mentioned Chet Minton. Here he is here with a very generous $500 contribution, and Stan's trying to raise I believe $4,000, and he's almost there. And we would like to help push him over to the top. In fact, the convention put $250 in towards this effort, and we invite you to do so also. And I'm going to put the link in the chat, And I would really like it if we could help get Stan who is a really A+ human being. I'd really like to get him over his goal by the time we're finished with the program.
That'd be great if we could do it live. That'd be fantastic.
So there's the link right there. It's in the chat there. If we could help get that done, that would be wonderful. If you have trouble finding this, you just search for Stan Brown, and you could see his iconic art there. And let's support Stan's GoFundMe. All right, got to help fellow gamers when they're down. Now, with that being said, do we want to bring on one of our guests here?
Let's do it, Ron.
Oh, that's a little too forward for me, but okay. What?
As I finish up my very
Look, I think she's blushing. Hold on. Okay. We're going to bring Matt Forbeck on.
Yes.
Hey!
Hey,
Matt.
how are you?
Hey, Matt.
I'm still laughing at Ed's hat. So
It's utterly silly.
it's very Wisconsin of him. So.
I'm gonna have to change my hat.
Yeah.
I've had a
No,
Beloit
don't
snapper.
change it. I think it's perfect.
There we go.
Here's a terrible joke. Hey Ed, is that a spotted cow? Wisconsin humor at its best. Burp, burp, burp.
I'll have to remember it to bring it here.
Yeah, right. You
There
should.
you go.
Yeah, bring it to game hole. Yeah, there you go.
So Matt, hey, it's great to see you.
Good to be seen.
for
Good to
those
see
who
you
don't
guys.
know, Matt, I go way back. We started working together when I started at West End Games back in the 90s. You were already a prolific freelancer, I think.
Yeah. What year was that? That was like early 90s, right?
It was like 90, 91.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Ed, when we were prepping Matt during his technical check earlier, and we mentioned, of course, Ed Stark, it did take him a couple minutes to place the name.
You mean Tony Stark? I think that's what that's what I thought at first, right?
You mean Ted? You mean Ted Stark?
Yeah, there's that too.
Now, I have a question for you, Matt. I asked this to anybody who's ever done anything for West End Games on the show. So you're driving into Honesdale, Pennsylvania.
Never did.
You never came to visit? Nope.
I never came to visit. Never been to Honesdale.
Oh, well, there's this giant castle in Honesdale.
I'll believe you.
No, there really is. You're driving in, there's a giant castle, and I'm like, wow, that's got to be West End Games, right? No.
Hold on, I'm losing my earbuds here.
Say
that again?
I was like, that's got to be West End Games, right?
You would think.
Castle. Get there, and it's like a shoe warehouse.
Right, yeah, because it was a shoe place originally. I mean, that's what Scott used to run before he did West End, right? High-end shoes.
Yeah. Well, his parents had a shoe company called Bruno Magli,
Right.
which had they didn't have that company. They imported Bruno Magli shoes,
Right.
which, by the way, had the distinction of being the shoes that O.J. Simpson
Jay Simpson, right? Yeah, I was going to say.
They imported the shoes, and Scott ended up running their business, Scott Poulter, and he founded West End Games because he was a huge war game fan. I mean, West End originally put out really high-end war games for the time, and then started doing role-playing games when Greg Kostikian and Eric Goldberg were there, and later Bill Slavacek, and they got the Star Wars license. That's about the time that I met Matt through freelance.
Yep.
So Matt, take us from your journey as a freelancer for West End Games. Let's go to the present and then go backwards. What?
Oh, geez. Okay. I guess I got back. I was working for Games Workshop in England at Nottingham as a designer and developer for them. I came back and I started freelancing. I was freelancing for anybody I could find. I believe that's when I started working for West End or doing stuff with West End, which was like Torg and Shatterzone and all that stuff way back in the day. And that was early 90s. Then in about 95, 96, Shane Hensley and I got together and started Pinnacle Entertainment Group. So we did that. I worked there as the president for 4 years. Then we started having kids. So I moved back to Wisconsin. I left Pinnacle and been freelancing pretty much ever since, with a short exception of when my wife quit working because she just had quadruplets and we needed health insurance. So yeah, she was a school social worker at the time, and she was going to take some time off. So I ended up working for a video game company called Human Head Studios up in Madison. And the moment they decided that, or she decided she was going back to work, I'm like, oh, I can Cobra through. Let's just go back to freelancing, which I've been doing ever since like 2004 now. So
Matt approached freelancing much like he approached having kids. It's like most people one at a time. He has four. He was incredibly prolific freelancer and the most dependable freelancer.
Right up until the kids were born. Yeah, sure.
No, even after. I mean, the thing is, one thing that people don't understand about the word dependable is sometimes things go wrong, or sometimes the unexpected happens, and a dependable person calls up and says, "Hey, I've got an issue," and you never worried about Matt disappearing down a rabbit hole.
Right. No, I remember calling Rich Baker when I was telling people that I was pregnant with the quads, and I explained to him what's going on. I'm like, "This is the first deadline I'm ever going to miss, Rich." He says, "What's happening?" I'm like, "I'm in the hospital. My wife's on full bed rest with quadruplets," and he just pauses and he goes, "You take all the time you need," right? He was just a great guy about it. He was fantastic. So,
and Matt developed one of the most unique ways of telling his quadruplets apart that I'd ever heard. What he did was he waited until they grew up and got one of them to do freelance with him.
I have two doing that now. Pat's doing.
Oh no, that's mixing it all up again.
And Marty's been doing it, but he's not one of the quadruplets. But Patrick, who's the only quadruplet who started doing that, actually got his first writing credit on the Avengers expansion, which just came out on Tuesday. So,
I thought you were going to say Sharpie. That's how you were telling them about via Sharpie.
Now we actually color coded them when they were born, right? We're like,
like puppies, like puppy litters.
They were not identical, so it was actually fairly easy to tell them apart, right? But for parents who were there with them all the time, but try to keep their things separate, so we knew like this was your ball, or this was your dish, or this was your cup. So Nick got to be blue, Pat got to be green, Kenny got to be orange, and Helen got to be red, right? And so those are now their favorite colors. We actually trained them to have their favorite colors.
Okay, so those are the colors they choose when they're playing Settlers of Catan.
Any other game too, yes. Very much so.
I see.
Remember when I would come home from the show, on the rare occasion that Jill wasn't able to go with me, if I mentioned you, she'd always be like, "How are the quads?"
Yeah,
like, he's got more than just the quads, right?
Yeah, Marty's sitting there going, "What about me?" Well,
yeah, exactly.
You got to become a gaming professional and get attention now, Marty. That's what happens. Right. It was always good times.
Matt, I remember that when I was tasked with doing a short story collection for Torg, you were the first.
Which I am on record as saying I'm a huge fan of Torg.
It's a great game.
Many times on this program.
Yeah. But I remember you were the first person I called, I believe, to do freelance for them.
Thank you. And that was my first short story. That was my first published short story. Actually.
That's what I was going to ask, because you went on to do a ton of fiction, but I thought that was the first one you'd done, and it was really good, and I tried to ruin it by editing it.
No, you were great. You were easy to work with. You're fantastic. Guidance was always wonderful, especially for a new writer like me doing fiction at the time. So I really appreciated everything you did for that, honestly. The funny part was trying to break into novels, because I had a hard time doing that, because I talked to guys at Games Workshop and TSR and then Wizard saying, "Hey, I want to write novels." We're like, "Well, have you written a novel?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, I wrote this one novel in college, but it's so bad we had it buried under Chernobyl, and nobody's actually going to ever be able to read it." And they're like, "Well, if you just write a novel and then show us this that you can finish one, it's like saying I can sprint, but I want to run a marathon. Then we'll hire you." I'm like, "Well, that's great, but I don't know when I'm going to have time to just sit down and write a novel." I was complaining about it at a Gamma trade show, I think. And Ed Pugh from Reaper Miniatures just kind of leaned over and tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Matt, I'll hire you to write a novel." I'm like, "Oh, Ed, you're my hero." So I just wrote a novel for Combat Assault Vehicle, which is like giant fighting mechs game. And he was such a good guy. He FedExed me a check when the manuscript showed up in his email box without even reading it. He just turned the money over to me right away. And within 6 months that was published. And I was able to take it over to Games Workshop and to then Wizards of the Coast and say, look. And they're like, "Oh, great. Now we'll talk." And so that's like 35, 40 novels later. But it was a hell of a start.
Okay, so I have one question. What is
Yes.
your secret to writing middles? Because I so struggle with writing middles.
I don't think there's much of a secret to it. I think part of it is just respecting the audience, whoever they happen to be, right? And my writing style in general tends to be clear, and I try to not flex my vocabulary at all. I try to make it so that my ambition when you're reading anything I write is that you forget that you're reading, right? The information just goes straight in your brain. So it tends to be very clean, not a lot of ornamentation, not a lot of worry about if I'm turning a clever phrase or anything. And I think that works for kids and adults just about as well, right? The only thing I have to worry about is, am I being too bloody or gory or anything like that when I'm talking to kids? Something that might scare them. But most of the time, it's just writing the same way. I tend to write more of a easy to digest kind of way as opposed to a flowery fantasy type way. I had an interesting time when I was writing the Guild Wars novel with Jeff Grubb, who Ed knows from way back as well. And
I currently work with him.
There you go, exactly. And he was working at whoever did Guild Wars, I forget, back in the day.
Was
ArenaNet, right? So he's working at ArenaNet, and they kept changing the background of the game while I was writing the novel, which just screwed me up entirely because it was a road novel and I had to connect everything together well. And they're like, "Actually, we're moving the city over here." And I'm like, "Well, that just screws everything up." So they brought him in to do a draft of it. And I came in after that, and they're like, "Can you just polish it up, make sure it fits what you wanted to do?" And as I'm going through, I'm going, "No, he's done this wrong and this wrong and this wrong." I'm like, "Wait a minute. Actually, he's doing everything right. He's just not doing it the way I would." Right? So you suddenly like, "Oh, shit, I do have a style. That's my style." Right? And the neat thing about working with Marty, my son, on these books we work on the Marvel books together, I often think he's the best writer we have, right? Of the people that we work with, because he writes exactly the way I want him to. And I realize it's because I've been training him to do that since he was 5, right? So other people, they're, a little bit less on that curve. He's just been there with me the entire way. I'm like, "Oh, no, I think he writes fantastically," because it's just the way he's been taught. I have to go back and teach everybody else to write the way I want instead. So, or be gentle on them. Most editors, if you're a good editor like Ed was back in the day, you let the writer's style shine through. You're just there to actually show them off, as opposed to imposing something on them.
Your comments right here have me thinking of a question. So, if you listen to a lot of designers, RPG designers and authors, a lot of times they're split. I think you're a bit of a unicorn there, Matt, where you've done a lot of fiction writing, but you've done a lot of game design as well. And it's not where you started with one and then you move to another. You do both. I mean, for instance, you're still working on the Marvel game that came out just a few short years ago, and so I guess. We hear a lot of times that game design writing is a very unique style of writing, in where it's not unlike, say, technical writing in a very certain sense. And I would venture to guess that writing fiction is not very similar to that. So,
no.
so someone like you has to really separate in their minds when you're writing game design material versus a story in a fiction novel. You have to be very cognizant of that as you're putting, pen to paper, if you will. Does that seem accurate?
No, they're very different types of writing. I mean, but writing even in the course of a game of a role-playing book, there are different types of writing. I mean, if you're writing rules have a very specific way to be written, right? And the fluff or whatever, the background, the other information, the setting information can be written more casually. But if you're writing rules, like I'm just working on a board game with my kids right now, and if you say a word means this, that's what that word means, and that's what that word has to mean every time you say it, right? It's very different than writing even just background material or whatever. And then when you're often, if you're doing a role playing game, you're giving other people tools to make stories with, as opposed to telling your own stories, which is a very different thing as well. And then when you actually get to write a novel, you're like, wait a minute, I get to choose my own story out of this setting that maybe I created or I'm working on somebody else's, and I get to control everybody as opposed to just setting up lots of possibilities. So it's kind of like like becoming a player instead of a game master. The game master has to know everything and have it all out there for everybody, but the player gets to choose their own character, and you usually just sit in that one headspace and do it. I like doing them both, right? I mean, one of the great things for me about role-playing game design in particular, but game design, is that it tends to tickle all the parts of my brain, right? Like I was really good at both math and English and science and whatever when I was in school, and doing these things allows me to use my whole brain as opposed to just focusing on one part of it. When you're writing a novel, you're often just focusing on your left part of your brain, right? Or whatever, the creative side of your brain. As opposed to the math side of your brain. And I like doing things that make me say, how can I make the math work for this kind of story, right? And that's a very unusual kind of thing for just about anybody. I think tabletop games are one of the few places you get to do that kind of thing. Sometimes you get to do it in video games as well, but even then, there's often a large division between the people doing story and the people doing the coding, right?
Yeah, it depends on the coding a lot. Yeah,
it does. You're right. Yeah.
So Matt, what we're going to do is we're going to get back to you and ask you to talk to us a bit about Marvel Multiverse.
Sure.
But as our normal programming goes, we have two guests, and I want to bring on somebody that you're familiar with as our second guest tonight, and that is, look, it's Mike Webb from WizKids.
Hello.
How you
Good
doing,
evening.
Matt? Good to see you.
Good to see you, Mike.
All right. Mike, thanks so much for joining us this evening. We really love to have you.
Absolute delight. Absolute delight. I gotta say, being around so many West End alums makes me happy. Star Wars, and I had a campaign that ran over 3 cities and 25 different players, but a continuous campaign over 25 years that started in 1987. So I love everybody that had anything to do with their game. I also love Torg. All hail the High Lord of the Cyber Papacy, John Malraux, please. And let me just give another shout out to Stan. Absolutely love Shadows of a Black Sun, which he wrote for West End. And please, folks, if you see that fundraiser for Stan, reach out and help. You would not believe how many games he has touched that we've all enjoyed, and how many people he's been friends with and been support for in this industry. It would not be the same industry without Stan's touch on it.
I would go through this list to see if Matt Forbeck was one of the donors, but knowing he had quadruplets, I just have to, I'm going to lay off him.
Quite as much as Chet, because I've got kids in college still. But yes, I did.
No, Matt was one of the first to donate.
More college at once. Oh my.
Yeah. Here's a.
Do you get a group discount when you have 4 kids?
Up until last year, they actually gave you help on the financial aid. They would actually take that into account. The schools do not give you a discount. They're like, no, that's just more kids coming in. That's okay. But financial aid would say, hey, you're spending all your money there. Obviously, you need more money. I'm like, okay, good. You're right. Thank you.
But hey, since we have so many friends of Stan here, and we had him on a few weeks ago, or maybe months, one little trivia question about him. So we know he's a game designer. We know he's an artist, everything. What is another ancillary to our hobby way that Stan makes a living? It's a regular job, I mean, he's not like on staff, but it's regular contract work, and he does it probably more frequently than he does anything else.
What,
I don't know.
do we have to answer in the form of a question?
You can.
What is exotic dancer?
No, although I have funny stories that I can't.
That's just a
tell.
hobby, okay? He does that for the love.
Yeah.
That's
So Stan is a kind of a localization expert for manga.
I did know that. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. He has translated many a manga that end up showing up on your shelves in like Barnes and Noble and stuff. Because Stan lived and worked in Japan for many years, and it was actually getting him hired at West End Games that gave him the opportunity to come back to the U.S.
I
But,
think I may have
Interesting.
encountered some of his work back in college when I was taking Japanese. I got really into a magazine called Manga Jenn, which was a very early magazine that was bringing in some manga and introducing it. And I think he may have done some work in that back then too.
Very cool.
Well, yeah, we will have to ask him, but that sounds familiar. But yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, Mike, though, it is so great to have you here. Can you tell people what it means to be the general manager at WizKids? What do you do there? I know what
It means I have less hair than I used to. Today is my 110th day at WizKids.
Who's counting? But who's counting?
Who's counting? Who's counting? It means I get to work with the absolute top-notch creative team across so many different areas, and everything from doing lifestyle product to doing the game product in the form of clicks to doing support product for role-playing game. What it basically means is I am a kid in the candy store with my absolute dream job. 30 years ago, I started down this path, and I told my wife, if I get to stay in this industry for 1 year, I can say for 1 year of my life, I got to do exactly what I wanted to do for a living. And how many people get to say that? And it's 30 years and counting right now. And I tell you, it is absolutely spectacular. But get to lead a great creative team, get to really look at a lot of different areas that we've got expertise across the companies that are owned by the same owner. So, you've seen our statues that we do. You've seen we're doing bookends right now through the partnerships we have with UNESCO. We've got so many different sister companies that we're able to bring different technologies in and different expertise in that we can really be best in class worldwide in certain categories of product. And we're looking at what we can do to leverage that.
I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do here. I'm in the Page office, which is relatively new, and I do have a pretty nice blank wall here.
Oh,
So, just a subtle hint. I'm just not so subtle hint. But
I
you
think
know,
you should go dragon hunting and get some trophies on that.
Well, my basement does not have very many blank walls because I have probably a WizKids warehouse worth of Warlock tiles and some miniatures, everything. I love your, ever since I got back into painting minis, I love your Nolzur's line and the Pathfinder line. And one thing that people who are watching this might know, they might not know, but WizKids is sponsoring a big mini campaign at Page. We're working out the details. I'm not going to give too much away, but basically it's 4 separate adventures are organized into a preliminary series of adventures and then a climax where we're going to feature WizKids product, and we're going to make it really sing. I don't want to go into any more details now, but Mike knows. I've sent him the summaries.
Oh, yeah.
He's got all the stuff.
We're excited
can't
and can't
wait
wait
for
to
that.
tease some more.
Yep. I signed up for one of the adventures. I cannot wait.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You've got to sign up for one of Matt's Marvel games, by the way. There were actually a couple of slots left a few weeks ago. I got to play Marvel with Matt was that at GaryCon that we played that?
It was at GaryCon, yeah, last year.
It was so
This
much
year,
fun.
I guess, right?
I now I think have a complete. Oh, it's not up here. It's downstairs in my basement with the WizKids stuff. But I think I now have a complete run of the Marvel stuff so far. So
Cool. I mean, as of Tuesday, there's a new book, so who knows?
Yeah,
So
I don't have that. I'll have to go out.
There you go.
Huge kudos to
Oh,
Marty.
somebody's saying, Knucklebone's saying, I'm saving up for the Mimic and the Red Dragon statues. One of the things I have primed downstairs but that isn't painted is the humongous Tiamat,
Oh, cool.
which is larger than my cats. It's primed. I got to paint it, but I'm
Nice.
working on some stuff for a friend of mine. But it's like sort of next in the hopper.
Did I mention
Yeah.
this wall? Did I mention the wall's empty right here? Did I mention that?
You need the owl bear.
Speaking of cats, we were just at the Alliance open house. Alliance is a large distributor in the game industry. They had about 240 stores that come through the show, and we were showing off our Displacer Beast kitten, which kind of had everybody excited about. And my cat in particular, I will say, is not too happy to have it around. My wife was kind of happy when it had to go back to the office. So, yeah, we love doing the lifestyle stuff like that too. Just bringing you immersive into the world. It's fun.
Now we
Yeah.
were talking earlier about the Stan Brown fundraiser, and
There he is.
he's here watching the program as he so often does. But Stan, has a pretty big part in that, does he not, Ed?
Yes, Stan is going to be our at-table illustrator. One of the things Stan used to do when he was in my campaign, and I believe he does now in his other campaigns, is he would sit there and do little sketches of the scenes as they're going on. Stan is illustrating all of the characters beforehand. He's actually already started. He's going to illustrate some of the key adventure points, bad guys or whatever. But while we're playing, at some of the tables, he will be illustrating. Now, he'll definitely be doing the final table, but he'll be doing like a mix of the other ones because obviously we can't sit him at the table all the time, especially if someone will work concurrent. But he'll do little sketches, and anybody who plays in the game, we will make sure that they can get electronic copies of those illustrations, and then we'll probably publish them on the page website or something like that. But yeah, he's we're kind of calling it the Illustrated Dungeon. We're road testing it at Gamehole, but we're perfecting it at Page.
Nice.
The link to that Displacer Beast kitten life-size figure is here in the chat. Now, we're really hoping that there we go. Sean Patrick Fannin just made a donation, as well as
Good shot.
attorney Edward Lopez made a donation. So we're now
Thanks,
up
Ed.
to 3265. We're hoping to get Stan to his goal of 4,000, but we're at 3265. So, I know we have quite a few people online tonight between all the different platforms that we have, but let's push Stan over the top. Otherwise, I'm going to show him. Yes.
Should we incentivize our listeners to donate by some? I mean, we were talking about the Troll Lord Games.
I'm going to incentivize them right now. Watch this, Phil. Between now and 10:15, Phil Wirt will match all donations made to Stan Brown's fundraising effort. So for the next 12 minutes, Phil is matching donations. So let's jump on board and make sure we're maximizing here to push Stan over the top.
I did already donate, by the way. Just let you know.
Maybe we could give Troll Lord Games gift certificates to people who donate, perhaps.
We do have some codes.
We could. We could give a $25 gift certificate. I mean, Phil, with all the money you're saving on haircuts, you should be able to donate a little bit more.
Yeah. I should, shouldn't I? Good thinking. That's very logical of you to.
It is.
I am going to drag back because I wanted to ask Mike one question. Mike, I'm not sure where in the country are you located?
I am currently in Decatur, Indiana, just south of Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you ever get out here. I know that some of the WizKids folks are out here because we've met up with a few of them. If you get a chance to come out here sometime, let us know because we want to take you down to Games and Stuff, one of our local game stores. We have many great game stores. They're going to be at Page. But one of the reasons I mention it is they also have displays of pretty much all of those like big statuette heads and stuff you've done. And one of the things that they do too is they sell a lot of your, they have probably a complete run of the miniatures, seems like, but they sell like your Warlock tile stuff. And one of the things that they've done that's really nice is they've also broken out some boxes so you can buy individual pieces.
Absolutely.
As well as the
Paul and team are spectacular. I actually lived in the Baltimore area for 14 years and was there when Paul came on board with games and stuff. It is an absolutely spectacular store. And Matt, Paul is an amazing person.
Matt, we have to get you down there too, because they've got the stuff. They also have, because they have a small, well, actually it's not that small, novel section. They've got a bunch of your, I'm probably going to say the wrong title, but the Choose Your Own Adventure.
The Endless Quest books. Yes.
Endless Quest books, that's right.
Choose Your Own Adventure is a trademark of another company.
Yes, yes,
all the goddamn times.
Yeah, but I wanted to get it right. But they've got a bunch of your stuff there.
That's very sweet. I would love that. That sounds like a fantastic place. I've known Paul for a while, so it's that'd be great to go visit.
We're all going to be there, I think, in 2027. That Gamma's moving to Baltimore starting in 2027 for 6 years.
There we go.
So we're going to have to all make the pilgrimage and go roll some dice with them.
That seems only fair.
We're going to be there. Paige is a member of Gamma,
Fantastic.
So we're going to be down there. No one was happier than me when I saw that the expo was moving to Baltimore. Trust me.
Yeah, that'll make it a lot easier for us to get there. I mean, no shade on Louisville, but
no, I was throwing shade on Louisville.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
I went to
Memphis State, so it's okay to throw all the shade on Louisville.
Yeah, I was going to say I was going to throw shade on Memphis, but then I heard the HeroClix World Championships were there, and now I'm
at the Graceland Event Center. Thank you very much.
My Gamma trade show days primarily
peanut butter and banana sandwiches on the menu there.
I remember the year that the Excalibur opened. We were in the Tropicana right across the street.
Yep.
It was practically like a pilgrimage of gamers all going over to the Excalibur after the exhibit hall hours and wandering around.
I just saw a note from an important executive in the insurance industry, Matt Archibald, who said he's typing in some numbers right now to donate to Stan's fundraiser. So thank you, Matt Archibald. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, he said, I think he, I like his recommendation. For every $100 milestone we hit, you're going to take an article of clothing off. Not that I necessarily visually need to experience that.
That's not an incentive for people to
keep in mind
to donate.
We're pretty sure since Ron is on his own property and everything, he's probably only wearing a shirt right now.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true. If the mosquitoes weren't so bad here on the farm, that would be more of a likelihood. Trust me. I would walk from the house to the office and sans bottoms.
You'd be in your Pooh Bear costume.
and what Pooh Bear reminds me is that we haven't let Jen talk in a little while. I bet she's got some questions for our guests.
I do. So you guys are game designers. Obviously, you've written some one-shots. Any tips for our listeners and watchers? Any recommendations on if you're going to write your own one-shot, how you might go about it?
By one-shot, you mean adventure?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Because I write comics sometimes too, so that often, you think of different things. I think one-shot depends. Like if you're writing something for a convention, the first thing you need to think about is how long it's going to be, right? Is it going to be a 2-hour slot, a 4-hour slot? And whatever you think it's going to be, you probably need to cut it down by maybe half or at least 25%, just because it's always, when you're at the table, everything stretches out, right? Especially the first few times you run it. And if you have time, run it ahead of time at someplace else, right? So when you actually get to the table, you're not fumbling through your notes and trying to figure out what you did or what you wrote or whatever. The other thing is, show up with pre-gens. And the neat thing about writing a one-shot for a convention is you can actually have pre-gens that are designed directly for that adventure, right? So a lot of times when you write an adventure, you don't know who's going to show up. You don't know what kind of characters are going to show up. You don't know what their abilities are. But if you say, here are the 6 characters you have, choose from them, you got the cleric, or you got the phaser from, somebody could walk through walls in one of the Marvel games. You know who you're dealing with, as opposed to just random characters from anything. So that always makes it a lot easier too. But try to keep the focus fairly sharp. Don't do more than one combat every hour or two, right? Because they tend to, depending on the game, they tend to drag on. And leave yourself plenty of time at the end so you can, debrief everybody and you're not racing to get everything done, right? People generally prefer to be able to shake your hand and talk to you and, take photos and be excited with each other and, say, where are you going next? As opposed to, shit, we got to get out of here. The next team needs the table. So that's my advice. Mike, what would you say?
Yeah, when writing a one-shot or if you're remixing a one-shot, a couple of the games I'm going to run at Page, for example, are remixes of an old fastest Star Trek game, for example, or an old Marvel. I've got some old Marvel adventure stuff from the TSR that I'm going to run with your system there, Matt.
Excellent.
The big thing is you should always build hooks in, and especially if you got pre-gens and you got people running them, you can make those hooks, make sure that they're gonna catch, right? So build those hooks in, and make sure you give an opportunity for everybody to be the star. Make sure there's an opportunity for everyone at that table to feel like they were a special guest star on this episode of the adventure, as opposed to the guy in the background. Nobody wants to play security guard number 6, right? Everybody wants to get a chance to be in the limelight. And if you're doing pre-gens, you can build the adventures, build the challenges around those opportunities to shine, because that's what people really want to do.
I agree.
Great advice.
Oh, the other thing is, a lot of times you write this stuff, if you're writing it for publication, you have to write lots and lots and lots of details. You can actually get away with bullet point notes if you're just writing it for yourself and you're running at a convention, right? As long as you understand what you're talking about, you can be much more flexible about it. I like to do things where you just set up one kind of a, like, this is impossible. How are you going to solve that? And then don't even think about how I would solve it. Let the players figure it out. And I swear, I've run some adventures, 60 to 100 times, maybe a couple hundred times, especially if you're talking about for games I'm developing. And it's wonderful to see how players react to the same problem in so many different ways, right?
So what you're saying is you don't have to know the answer to.
No, that's what the players are for. Right?
Ah.
The best part is if they come up with a better answer than you had, you can say, yes, that's it exactly.
Somebody take pity on Ron and ask him what he just posted. He wants to talk about it.
Uh-oh. What did you just post? Oh, you mean this stuff here?
Yeah.
These great pre-generated characters like Emma Elfstomper, Delilah DeAndrea. There we go. So talk about it, Ron.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
These are the pre-generated characters from Tomb of the Ancient War King.
Nice.
And, these are for tournament play, and they're included with the adventure here, which I'm scrolling through quickly. But
no spoilers.
Screenshot. People are going to pause and they're going to read that whole thing.
Yeah, I just screenshotted everything. Yeah, you're screwed. Sorry, buddy.
Well, we already sold the 100 copies that we were.
Right.
Play the tournament.
What's that?
They're going to be ready to play the tournament.
Oh, good luck. Good luck to them. But
yeah, that went off to the printer this week, right, Ron?
Went off to the printer today.
That is pretty awesome.
So they're very excited about that.
One of the thoughts I was going to contribute with that, which I bet both of you do as well, is I like to put in a swing encounter or two, or a optional thing where it's, if I think that the adventure is going to, it might take 4 encounters to get through, I like to make sure one of the encounters I run is one that I can just yank out if things are going slowly. And then I also like to write an extra encounter so that if things are going really fast, I got something to throw in, because you always want to, obviously you're always going to introduce the adventure. You're going to have that opening encounter, and you want to have the closing encounter. If you're going to have the big fight with the dragon, you want to make sure they do that. You don't want to sit there at the end and go, well, you guys would have gotten to this. So it's like, if we only have those 2 encounters, then at least it's been a success. But usually it's like, okay, we need to do encounter number 1, check the time, encounter number 2, check the time. Oh, we don't have time for encounter number 3. Let's skip right to 4.
Yep.
Or, my God, things are going fast. Okay, that optional encounter 3A is going to get dropped in here.
That is some good and hard-won wisdom, I'm sure.
Yeah, we have some breaking news here. Matt Archibald did just donate $100 to the Stand fundraiser, so now it stands at $33.65.
Go Stan.
84% of the way to the $4,000 goal.
34.15.
34.15.
Yeah, refresh.
Well, 33.65 is what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know. I'm seeing higher than that. I don't know.
It feels in a more local time zone, I think, maybe.
I don't know. I'm just concerned. I had no
Living in
idea
the future.
that Chet Mitten's real first name was Chester.
Yeah.
But he did donate $500, so you have to.
Yes, yeah. His name can be whatever it wants.
But you're saying you see a high, 34.15. There it is. We are at 85% here. So
We're getting there.
Rachel Pulamus, who's one of our volunteers. She also runs, name of her convention is Mythicon. Mythicon?
Mythicon, I think. It's something very similar to that.
Mythicon? Help me. Rachel, help me. Put it in the chat. I think it's Mythicon. Mythicon. My keyboard would work.
I think it is Mythicon. No, Mythicon is in Gettysburg. That's not right.
Mysticon?
Hey, well, while he's looking that up, I want to ask Matt and Mike, recognizing that there are NDAs and things like that, can you tell us about anything that you're working on currently outside of convention attendance and being
MythicCon in November? So, if you want to head south and think to North Carolina in November, MythicCon is there. And see, that's why I messed up. She didn't even know her own email address before she left that extra C out. So there we go. But it looks like a good time. I was looking at it today. It's got 335 events posted. Nice. And, but yes, thank you very much, Rachel. We appreciate that to help get Stan a little bit closer here.
Right. To answer Ed's question, Christ, now I just blanked at it.
What you were working on. What
am I working on? I was trying to figure out what I could talk about, right?
Yeah.
That was the hard stuff. So actually, Ron was doing me a favor there by covering me while I was going, geez, I can't talk about that. I can't talk about that. And there are things I could talk about over a beer that I can't talk about on screen.
Sure.
But so the Avengers expansion just came out for the Marvel game on Tuesday. It's been selling really well. The big announcement there is that Marvel didn't even tell me this, is that they're finally doing it as PDFs, selling it as PDFs as well.
Oh, wow.
On Drive-Thru-RPG, which they have never done before, because Marvel is historically has been allergic to PDFs, right? They don't sell their comics as PDFs. They don't sell any of their other books as PDFs. So for them to actually sell the games as PDFs took a couple of years of banging heads with upper management to try to convince them that this is something they should change. And the guys, our production team, actually managed to finally pull that off. So I was pretty thrilled to wake up and find that. And right now we've got like 5 out of the top 6 titles on Drive-Thru-RPG. The one that's beating us at number 1 is the Cyberpunk Red Solo rules. And, good for those guys. They actually do really good work. And beyond that, we've announced that we're doing a Rivals-based adventure/comic that's coming out, I think, in March of next year. And we're working on the next one, but we haven't announced it yet and can't say anything about that quite yet.
Can you talk all about what the Rivals thing is? Because I saw that announcement.
Yeah, it's going to have my son Marty is the lead writer on that, along with Paul Allore, who's the guy who writes the Rivals comics for Marvel, right? And they do like these vertical comics, the streaming comics, right? That they do.
Right.
So they've been doing those for Marvel, or Paul's been doing that for quite some time, and then they release them as print products later on. So they're going. Paul is coming in to write a prequel comic book for Rivals, and then an adventure with Marty that comes off after that connects you up to the main game. So players will have a chance to do that. You can play a lot of characters from that. There'll be characters in there that are featured in Rivals that have not been featured in other Marvel role-playing game products to that point. So players who are big on Rivals, which is a great Marvel game, will have the chance to be able to take that and turn it onto their tabletop as well.
That's
and
great.
like I said, as a preview comic too. I haven't seen the artwork on that yet, but I've read the script and it's a lot of fun. So,
All right.
sometimes you get to see stuff ahead of time. It's neat.
Real quick, thanks to Troy Allman from Cannibal Publishing for donating $100. Stan's fundraiser total is now at $35.15. He's 88% of the way there.
Cool.
We need $485 more dollars, and he'll be at his goal. And for those wondering, we have. Let's see if I can make this work.
Yeah, well, while Ron's working on that, I just hopped out the drive-through.
Yeah.
And very interesting indeed here. How, best-selling titles right on the landing page here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 through 6, because Cyberpunk is number 1 right now, single-player mode. Is Marvel Multiverse RPG expansions. And so to your point, Matt, it looks like you guys are knocking it out of the park here as people are scooping up the PDFs.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I mean, it's just the funny part is they didn't prime the pump or anything, so it's just been word of mouth. It hasn't been like, hey guys, wait, as soon as it's going to launch, you can go buy the PDFs. It was like just kind of, hey, by the way, now we're doing PDFs. And people just descended on it and devoured it. So
yeah,
it's Marvel. I mean, Marvel does great stuff, and obviously it's one of the top brands in the world. And I feel very fortunate to be working with them. But it's really edifying to see that kind of thing happen. To see a lot of people and that's actually been our number one request since we came out with the game, is people who wanted it in PDF. And explaining that to people who aren't tabletop gamers, a lot of time they're like, well, we got the demi-plane version, the Roll20 version that work really well, but they're not PDFs. And the guys,
right.
if you've got gigabytes of PDFs lined up for your tablet or your computer or whatever, you don't want it to learn another system or have to access even another system. You've got it all right there where you want it. And I think that's part of what we did with the Marvel game too, is a lot of times we say, we're not going to tell you how to play the game if you want to play with miniatures or theater of the mind or on a map or whatever. We come to where you are. And we weren't able to do that with PDFs for a lot of folks, but now we finally are able to do that. As opposed to saying, do this, right? So, yeah, I'm very happy
Mike,
about it.
do you have anything you can share with us? I mean, I know. Oh, I can't hear you, Mike.
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Your audio.
Very faintly.
It's very
Okay,
faint.
hang on.
There you go.
Oh, it just came back.
Perfect. I got to get this camera checked out here. Yeah, we just came back from the Alliance Open House recently, so we had a bunch of announcements there that are kind of working their way out right now. We've got the 12-inch dragon statues, our dragon trophy statues. So you've seen our giant hunting trophies. We've got smaller ones that fit nicely beside existing ones, or a little better, a little lower price point there to let some people experience that. Those have the 2024 style dragon art, the first one being the red dragon. We're continuing to do a bunch of the statuary between a black dragon wormling, the Displacer Beast kitten that we talked about a little bit. Outside of that, we've got planar perils coming up in December for Pathfinder battles, a blind booster set as well. We've got D&D Monster Menagerie coming up as well. Going to be touching on a lot of really key creatures for that. So we are doubling down on that front while we continue to work Hero Clicks and all the other sides. And like I said, watch this space. We've got some discussions we're having with a number of different fantastic tabletop role-playing companies about ways we can support some of their products as well.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's very good stuff to hear. You know, it's I monitor. I'm a big Warlock Tiles guy. Just like got a basement
Me
full of
too.
stuff, and I monitor the online chatter very closely. And I'm tired of hearing people, you know, with the rumors that you guys are abandoning the product line. And I just don't. You can tell the world right now, Mike, that that's not the case.
Well, we are looking at some options on packaging, and we've got some ideas we've pitched out there. I can't really talk about right now unless and until they
Sure.
get approved. But in the end, I will say I came to the company as a huge fan of Warlock Tiles. I easily cover a 10-foot dining table in my dining room completely with terrain all the time for games. So I'm a huge terrain nut. And we're looking at some ways to create the product in a format that's going to be very sellable on retail shelves. It's going to pull through that market. That's going to re-energize some of the products that we've had out there. So we're looking at what those options are. As soon as we have some announcements on those pitches, I'll make sure that I reach out to you guys. We'll make sure, hopefully we'll have some to make there at the show, and going to try and have some prototype stuff if we can.
I'm excited to say, based on the number of donations we've received during the Phil match period, I think we might be over the top.
I've been feverishly donating by the way, back matching everything that's coming across the wire.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I'm really excited. Now, are you going to? I believe, as you said, you're going to be running stuff at the show.
Yeah.
So people will get to come and talk to you, but there's also going to be a WizKids booth
Nice.
there, so people will be able to see some of the new prototypes. They'll be able to buy some of the product, because a lot of people don't know, I think, that you're actually just down the road from Page. I mean, you've got a group there, even though you're out in the Midwest. It's nice that it's almost like a local show for you.
Isn't anything within a 4-hour drive local when you're on the East Coast?
Yeah.
I think that's the rule, right?
To a large
Matt
degree.
When I was at West End, our marketing budget was where I and the sales manager were willing to drive to. And one year that included, do you remember the Gamma Trade Show that was in New Orleans right after Hurricane Katrina? We drove to that. We literally outran a tornado to get to the Gamma Trade Show. But yeah, it took 24 hours straight, and we basically had 4 of us, and we just drove, trading off, I guess. But yeah, that was the plan. Anything we could drive to, that was local.
There are so many stories. If you go back into the 90s, people, gamers that are just getting into the industry today have no clue how Wild West every aspect of it was in the 90s. It was insane.
But fun. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
100% agree. Now, Matt, when people come to Page, where are they going to be able to get the Marvel multi-universe product there?
I have no idea. Right? I hope somebody comes and sells it. You guys, if you guys are coordinating the stores, pick one or tell them all to bring it. Right? I won't have a table. So
we got 2 amazing retailers who are coming. Yeah. I mean, we got lots of great vendors, but Mr. E and Games and Stuff are both going to be there. We should probably word out to them that they might want to bring some Marvel stuff for them to sell and you to sign.
I'd appreciate it. That'd be great. I generally don't do booths and tables because I'm a freelancer these days. Every now and then I'll rarely do one. I usually find out it's a lot of work, which is why people pay retailers to do this shit, right?
Yeah.
You just got us demonetized with the profanity. Jeez.
Yeah.
Now you can't be running any game.
I was talking money. That's the profanity.
I mean, it's bad enough. It's bad enough. We got Jenn drinking in the middle of the live stream.
It's water.
By the way, that said, Matt.
Yes.
I'm putting Ron on the spot here, and he can always say no. But
don't do it.
If a case of those books showed up at the show, there might be a corner of the Page booth that they could sit on.
No, we're not going to do that. You know why? You know why? Because we're not going to compete with the retailers that are there. But I would recommend, talking to either Jim Evangelisti from Mr. Ease or Paul Butler, and see if you can get them to stock up a little bit.
It's a good idea. Now, I'm happy to sign anything anybody shows up with, whether I've worked on it or not, apparently, right? People showed up at GaryCon having me sign their first edition player's handbooks. I'm like, I learned how to play on this, guys.
I think I was there for one of those.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, "What? We want you to sign as a souvenir for the show." I'm like, okay, what the hell?
I think I had, if I remember correctly, did I pick up some sort of Blood Bowl fiction?
Probably. I've wrote
thing that I'm going to have
4
you
Blood
sign.
Bowl novels and a comic book mini series for Blood Bowl over the years. So good fun.
So you've written a ton of books and you're a game designer. Which style of writing do you prefer?
I love them both. I mean, the neat thing about doing game design, if you're working on like anywhere from novels to video games, right? You start with novels and it's just you and the page, and you get to fight with it on your own. But it's all your problem and all your credit and everything else. It's wonderful. Then you go to like tabletop games. It's just you and a small group of people, right? If you're doing a comic, it's like you and the artist and your editor. Do tabletop games, it's you and your developer or your game partners, whatever. Then you get to video games. You're working with a team like 200 to 300 people sometimes. And every one of those is a wildly different experience. I love them all for their own reasons. But one of the great things about being a freelancer is I don't have to stick with one, right? If one of them starts to grate on me for whatever reason, I get to go off and do the other one for a while, as opposed to saying, well, it's just me on the page the entire time, or no, I have to put up with these jerks the entire time. If I get tired of the people I'm working with over here, I just get to go write a book. If I get tired of being by myself, because I'm the jerk, I get to go play with my friends over here. And I actually really enjoy having that kind of a chance to juggle those as opposed to sticking to just one. Apparently I bore easily.
So we're Stan's fundraiser is still sitting at 35.15. That's 88%. I call on the people that are watching the program and in the chat. Let's see if we can get this over the top before we go off the air tonight. And the goal's 4,000. We're
close.
Almost there. Mm-hmm. I know we have a bunch of people that are loaded out there in the audience tonight. I mean, Matt Archibald, big insurance company executive. The $100 is great, but maybe a little bit more. You know what I'm saying, Matt? I mean, your dog Pickles did poop on the floor last year at Page, and you ground it into the floor when you walked through it. So that's got to be worth something, isn't it?
Mike, actually,
Pickles is banned.
You're in a unique position because we don't often have somebody who's on what I would think of as like the brand side or the publishing side on our show. And, I know a lot of people are always asking, Matt, like, how do you write? Where do you come up with ideas? How do you do this? How do you get a contract? I mean, he just described how he finally got a book, his first book contract, and now like 40 books later, he's a very successful author. But from your standpoint, having been in publishing, distribution, all that other stuff, if, nowadays a lot of people are doing things like going direct to print or using, one of the online services or something. But do you have, I thought my connection had cut out there. Do you have any advice for somebody who wants to get, who wants to start up like a small company and get into, publishing, distribution, that sort of thing?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing you can do is seek information. One of the things I've absolutely loved about this industry is how willing everyone is to share information. We are truly a rising tide raises all ships business. We had mentioned GAMA earlier in the conversation. That's the Game Manufacturers Association. They are an organization that has different tiers for designers as well as for publishers as well as for distributors and retailers. And they are a phenomenal organization because it brings people together in the business of games. And I would just say seek the information out, get involved, seek out some others that are in that tier that you're looking to get into. There is no reason to make any of the mistakes that people have blazed the trail ahead of and made for you, right? The pitfalls I've fallen into, and I've fallen into plenty over 30 years in this business. I'm glad to share with anybody so that they don't have to make those. Set about your business with the intent of only making new mistakes instead of making the same old ones that we've all made. And this industry, more than any I've ever been in, is so willing to share that information. So just seek that out. The other thing I would say is it's go for it. Look at the opportunities. If you're wanting to be a writer, make sure that you go about it the right way, but go for it. I joked earlier with the team in the pre-show. My wife, I got into the gaming industry, and I told her if I got to do 1 year in this business, I would be able to say for the rest of my life I had done exactly what I wanted to do for a living. Take the step. Take that step and that opportunity. You'll find that if you put the effort into it, if you inform yourself, and it's a great industry to do it within, you'll find that there's tremendous opportunity here.
When you search pickles and sand on Google, is Pickles the dog. Everything else is pickles related.
I love the meme that Chet put up on Facebook. That was so funny.
Poor Pickles.
You mentioned the GAMA, and I think we've dropped the GAMA trade show around. It's funny because I know those of us who are old enough to remember GAMA back in the 80s and 90s, especially the GAMA trade show. It was very much the trade show where the marketing people and salespeople got together to hang out in Vegas and drink, and like the booth hours were like 4 hours long, and usually manned by booth monkeys like me, handing out flyers and free product. But it really evolved over the years, and I remember going to my local game stores and stuff, saying you got to send people there because they want you there, and they'll pay for you to be there and everything. I would say the same thing back when I was at TSR and later at Wizards. We actually encouraged freelancers to go because there were now like freelancer tracks where you could talk. Because it wasn't a giant consumer show like Gen Con or something, you actually could get face to face with the publishers and find out what they wanted, and even if they weren't talking about it necessarily, you were seeing it because all the presentations and all the stuff was all like, hey, this is what's coming out this coming year, so yeah, it's a great opportunity to see that. And of course, GAMA itself is good for that sort of thing.
Yep. One of the things you'll notice if you go, it's fascinating to me because, again, having seen, I was on the GAMA board of directors for I think 14 years across a couple of different stints.
Yep.
But seeing the level to which the new blood that's coming in, they learn a lot from the show. But you know what? Those of us that have been around for decades, we learn from the new folks coming in as well. And it really is that synergy between all of us. And so if you're new and you got questions, don't be afraid to come ask them. There's some of them that we haven't even thought of, and we'll help come up with an answer together. But also don't think when you're new that you don't have something to add. You've absolutely got something new to add. One of my prized possessions is one of the last Talislanta rule books that Wizards of the Coast released. The very back page of every one of the Talislanta releases was talking about all the wonderful things Wizards of the Coast was doing. So it listed out a Primal Order book that was coming, and it talked about what's coming up soon for Talislanta. And there was this article in the upper right-hand side of that page that was about this new game that's going to carve a niche in the gaming industry. It's going to be a Magic summer. And Magic the Gathering came out of that. The next Magic the Gathering is out there somewhere in the minds of a gamer right now. I want to see that come out. I want to see it made manifest, and I want to see how that's going to change this industry again. And we've got some of the best minds in the world in our hobby. We attract creative, mathematically inclined people that are great storytellers. And I want to retire from this business and have plenty of new games to play in my retirement. So please get out there and let the creative juices flow. Whether you're running a game, creating a game, play testing a game, or just playing. Get out there and do it.
We have a question from the viewership, and then we're gonna start to wind this down so we can let you guys go to sleep. I mean, at least one of you has 5 kids, so we know he
They're
needs
all
sleep.
grown-ups now.
Yeah, but page 2 had a lot of great seminars on topics like these. Are either of you going to be on any panels discussing the business of game design or publishing at page 3?
I don't remember.
Well, Phil and I
If
have
not,
to-
you can put me on
organized
some. That's
for you.
cool.
Let's see. I have a Matt. You are on one. I believe it's discussing IPs
Okay.
and TTRPGs. I believe is one of the panels that you're on. I just had
Thank
it
you.
up.
And crew, I'm delighted
big-
to be on anything that you want to.
Big Media IPs and TTRPGs. That's the name of it.
There you go. Yeah, if you guys need me for anything else, I'm pretty much not going to wander away from the show.
Yeah, you and
I'm
Al
there.
Spader.
Yeah.
You and
Well,
Al
Phil-
Spader are on that.
Phil is going to smack me because we've been working on this spreadsheet, and when I say we, I mean Phil worked on it, and then he said, "Hey, could you just finish this up?" And I kept getting swamped by work, so I'm trying to finish up the spreadsheet that has all of our guests and all of our panels, so we can mix and match and ask people what they want to do. So I got to get that taken care of. But yeah, we'll probably reach out to you for maybe 1 or 2 more contributions. We'll make sure it doesn't interfere with you having fun at the show or
Sure.
anything
Yeah.
like that. And we're
Well,
going to
hey,
do autograph booths and stuff like that too.
There's
We're glad to talk anytime.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt Archibald. He writes he says, in addition to Birthright Adventures, he also writes Pickles fan fiction.
Yeah, he's the IP owner in this case. I don't think it has to be fan fiction.
Well, I don't know. We might have slipped in there and grabbed the copyright out from under him. Just a little update here where we are with Stan's fundraiser. We are at $35.90, which means we're only $410 away, and from helping Stan reach his goal. Looks like Bear Weeder.
Welter.
Welter.
Waiter. Hold on there.
No,
Bear
it's
Waiter.
fine.
Yeah, I know Bear.
It's an eye. Just donated $25. Thank you. And we're cruising right along. And as I discussed, if we hit the goal, I will lift Pickles' ban. So if we hit the goal tonight, Pickles' ban will be lifted.
Who doesn't need more pickles in their life?
There you go.
I want to meet Pickles. Let's lift the ban.
Well, you got to
You
get
know how
it.
to do it.
Let's.
It's 10:43 now, and
Oh my God! Ed's cats need to eat.
I don't know if you've heard them. They've been howling.
There they are. There's one.
Well, we can cut Stan's fundraiser short so you can feed your cats.
No.
I'm
You
not sure
said-
how that's going to go over, but we can try.
probably have things to do.
There you go.
Matt's got a good point. If we do that and we let Pickles back in, it'll cut down on the options for our live streams. But are there any other questions? I mean, Stan's got a point. Beyond any scheduled panels, there will be seminars each night at the hotel bar.
Yes, there's always BarCon, right? So
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
it's a long-standing tradition. You
We-
do not
we-
have
we-
to drink.
We
To
we
be
banned
there
us.
and
We
do
banned
it.
a special guest from page 1 because of the seminars he was holding in the bar. So just
That's one way of
be
putting
warned.
it.
That's a story I need to hear.
Yeah, that's not fit for.
No, at the BarCon.
Yeah. We can have
Oh,
that
hey,
discussion.
Matt,
Sure.
I forget. Years and years ago, I was a guest at one incarnation of NeonCon, which has been through several incarnations.
Yep.
And we ran a seminar at 11 o'clock at night that was called Stories We Only Tell in Person.
Right.
People were encouraged to come and with alcohol because it's
3615. 3615.
And I don't remember if you were at that one or not.
It sounds familiar. I might have been very drunk. I don't know.
I stopped. Jill and I stopped by Coyote Ugly, and I bought this giant, like 160-ounce daiquiri thing.
There you go.
Was drinking that throughout the entire show. I don't normally drink, but I will drink fruity stuff. And Stan was there.
There we go.
A whole bunch of stories that would have gotten us sued if anybody had been recording things.
It's a trouble time now that people have phones in their pockets, right? So it's a lot harder to get away with.
Oh well, then there's always the Game Critics Awards.
I forgot about those. Those were a lot of fun.
I've got a Ralphie around here somewhere.
Now, gentlemen, before we let you go, I'm going to remind you both that Page is a 501c3 charitable organization itself, and our primary charitable goal is something called the Gamer Assistance Program, in which I took some money from that to donate to Stan's fundraiser tonight. But it helps gamers and specifically designers and artists who are in need, specifically this kind of situation. We just got tired of seeing folks from the industry having to go to GoFundMe to, for car repairs or to get a roof on their house. So I'd ask if you could each reach into your archives there at home and see what you could bring that we could put in our charity auction. I mean,
sure.
The bidders are very generous, and unique items always go well. Signed items go well as well. So anything you can do to help us out, that would be great.
Of course.
The Moth Story Hour at Page Street. No. They actually brought the folks from the Moth out to the Carpenters Union International Training Center. And they were teaching us how to be better storytellers. And I'm like, hey, listen, I'm down with this. I'm looking at the rest of the people. Their eyes are just glazed over. They're just glazed over. I'm like, this is not the right crowd for this, I'm thinking. So it was pretty good.
That's wild.
Stan's going to bring things to the auction for sure, which we appreciate, but let's get Stan over the top here. We're at 3615. We're 90% of the way there.
Yeah. I'm planning on doing some sort of unique, possibly 3D print and paint.
Cool.
I'm not a pro, but I can do some stuff that looks reasonably good. So hopefully some sort of little statuette or something.
That'd be awesome.
All right.
Cool.
I'm sure we'll find something. My kids are still plundering my basement for shit I've had from 30 years ago. So. And
my mother-in-law has just entered the room. There she is.
Hey.
Entered the officer's cast. There's my wife,
Put her on the
Jennifer.
spot.
We have family camping here at the farm this weekend, so
nice.
The office is doubling as a boudoir for certain individuals who may or may not be over 80 years old. So, but everybody, we'd really like to get this fundraiser over the top if we could. I mean, Phil, are you getting your checkbook out?
I feel like I already did.
Are you trying to claim one of these anonymous donations, Phil?
I did, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I do GoFundMe's relatively often, and I always click the no thanks. Yeah, I don't like my name on stuff.
That sounds convenient. Okay.
But while other people perhaps are thinking about maybe getting us over the top here, I don't know if there's any other questions out there in the crowd for our guests. Please put them in chat. We do appreciate their time. We want to respect their time, of course. And we really, 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 really appreciate both of you joining us this evening. It's been a very lively, interactive, and interesting conversation. And we are looking forward to having you join us in Page in a few short months. Matt, I know you'll be at Gamehole Con, I'm pretty sure. And Ron and I and Ed will be there, and I'm sure we'll run into each other.
We're planning a like a little reception when we're out there.
Excellent.
For Page, so we'll let you know. Mike, are you going to be there?
I'm not going to be able to this year, but I will be back next.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, I never miss Gamehole Con. It's only an hour away from me, right? And it's such a fantastic show. Alex and Andrew and the whole crew, they're just doing an amazing job. So.
Yeah, they do. They do.
City.
Yeah, it's great. The growth that they've experienced over the last few years has just been, phenomenal. I'm helping Alex out a little bit, running a couple of sessions of his new Wardens program.
Nice.
We're bringing Wardens of the Eastern Marches to Page. We're going to be the second convention ever to host those games. So we really do appreciate all the effort that Alex puts into the show, because you can tell it's with love that he puts that show on. And those of us that really, really, really live, eat, and breathe role-playing games, it's like going to the Mecca every year.
Yeah,
it's really special.
I'll tell you, the one thing Alex and those guys there really did is, I used to do a lot of shows where I would just show up and do seminars, right, or signings or whatever. And he's like, every one of our guests has to run games. I'm like, shit. It's been a while since I've done one at a convention. I'm like, oh no, I got to do this again. And I was feeling pretty rusty, but it was like 10 years ago now or whatever it was. First time I showed up, and I shook the dust off, and it was like riding a bike. You just got back on. You're like, man, this is just as much fun as it ever was. And I was just thrilled to get back into it. It's probably one of the reasons, again, that I've been doing more and more role-playing gaming stuff over the last 10 years because of that. Right, just to remind you of that joy you had when you step at a table with a bunch of people who are just there to have fun with you.
I run a lot of con games at a lot of cons, and I get the butterflies every time, right? Because it's you want to bring I always want to do a better job at a con than I do at my home game. Not that I want to, your friends will be much more apologetic perhaps, but these are people that are paying, and I always ask myself, I look in the mirror, I'm like, guys, myself, I'm like, do you have the goods? Can you bring the pain today? And when someone at a con, you get up after 4 hours and they say, that was really good. I'm running down the hallway looking for high fives because I feel like I just won the Olympics.
No, it's fantastic fun. I had a deeply weird experience at Gen Con this year because Marvel had their own room, and they decided that for games that I ran, which were only 2-hour games, they were going to charge people $100 a seat. Right? We sold out, I think, 30 seats. Right? I was like, guys, I did this for free. I don't know exactly what the hell you're doing. I guess time's valuable at Gen Con, right? Because there's not enough. There's 72,000 people or whatever. But I would have done it for free on the street, right? Paying to go that much money to play a game with me felt silly. And I appreciate the people who stood up and did it. It was amazing. We had a great time. But it's one of those things like, no. The way I make money is by creating this stuff, not by playing this stuff, right?
Right.
So there's a whole new group of people who are doing that now with like the D&D and the Castle folks, and a lot of these high-end paid game masters. And it was very strange to kind of dip my toes in that for a session. It was wild. So.
Yeah, I had a little weird experience at Gen Con as well. I was running some 5e Grim Hollow stuff from Ghostfire Gaming with Baldman Games, and I ran their Epic, and I did the same thing last year. And 2 people sat down at my table this year, and they looked oddly familiar to me, and I didn't know their names. And I said, "Do I know you?" And it was a husband and wife, and they said, "Yes, you do know us." And I was like, "How do I know you?" And they said, "We were at your Epic table last year, and we thought you did such a great job that we came back the
That's
second
awesome.
year to have you as our GM." And it really I got it right here. They hit me
That's
pretty
great.
hard with that. It was really special. I'm really gonna remember that. So I hear you.
That's too cool. Yeah, wonderful. It's all about the fun at the end of the day, right? So.
Correct. Yep. Well, Ron, do you want to say adios to our special guests? They've been here quite a while now.
Yeah, I think we appreciate your time, and we appreciate you. You both made donations to Stan's fundraiser. Appreciate that. And
Yeah, thank you for helping us promote that and everything. I know it was kind of
Oh,
impromptu.
of course. No, I was doing
Yeah,
it before I even got on here. I donated before I got on here.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to help Stan, or any friend, obviously, but Stan particularly at any point.
Absolutely.
so, but we appreciate your time, and maybe we'll have you on again prior to the convention. I think,
Sure.
Mike, almost certainly we're going to have you on again, as there, some things are going on over at WizKids, and
Absolutely.
really excited about that. And we will let you go and get some rest.
I have to go back to writing rules. So sure, but good luck. Yeah.
Nice to meet you both.
Good to meet you
Nice to
too.
meet you.
Yes.
Great
Thanks
seeing
so much
both
for
of you.
Thanks,
joining us.
everybody.
All right. Take care, guys.
Have a great night.
All right. Well, that was a rousing conversation tonight with our 2 special guests, huh?
Sure
Yes.
was.
Definitely.
All right, Phil. What do you got for us as we
Well-
head towards the end here?
Yeah, folks out in the crowd, let's remind ourselves of a couple of important things, as always, as we round out the show here. Our registration totals, we like to share those with you because, like Ron always says, you are on the journey with us here as we're building the show, and we are getting close to the 4-digit mark regarding badges. And so that is phenomenal growth. We are definitely well ahead of where we were last year at this time. And so we'll see where the final number lands when we get to the show in January. But things are going really, really well in that regard, and we're happy. We are getting very close to the end of event submissions. Today, of course, is the 19th of September. You have till October 3rd in order to get us your submissions. And it is almost daily that we are continuing to get those submissions. So people are still getting us games, and we are still trying to wedge them into tables and get them into rooms. But do not delay, as the door will inevitably close at some point in the near future. And those event totals are nearing 1,000 events, by the way, just so you know. And if you are someone out there that has bought a badge, and for whatever reason you've sat on that badge and you have not filled up your schedule with games, you said to yourself, I'm going to go back and I'm going to get to that later, and you have not yet done that, by all means, you need to hop in there. You need to get on the website and you need to pick those games. There's plenty of great stuff still available. We'd love to fill out and flesh out some of these games, some of these really unique experiences that you don't want to miss out on. So hop on there. And if you've already filled out your schedule and you're thinking about maybe adding another slot to your schedule, you might as well do that. Like I said, there's great options still available.
One thing I want to break in with, because we had this
Sure.
actually come up. Make sure when you're on the tabletop events site and you select something, you get a ticket, make sure you check out. We've had some people who have just left their stuff in the cart thinking, oh, I signed up for this, I now have it. And they're like, why am I not signed up for this event? And
Yes.
what would really suck is you put something in your cart and then it sells out while you're waiting, so.
It's a great point. You do not want to forget that. Yes, you do want to finalize the purchase by actually, just like you're buying something on Amazon or what have you, the event goes in your cart, and then you need to check out in order to make sure that is actually in your
Even if the
schedule.
event is free,
Right.
you still have to check out.
Correct. Right. So if you're getting a ticket for a panel or something like that, yep, you want to do that. Our short form content here on YouTube is still being churned out as we are having special guests comment about their appearances to page and introducing themselves to the audience. And just as an experiment last night, if you missed it, maybe you want to go back and check it out. Ron and I hopped on in very short notice. We were having a conversation on the phone. We said, let's just hop online and just see who joins us. And we're gonna talk a little bit about. We talked last night about organized play because we've got organized play options that we want people to take advantage of. And so we just hopped on impromptu. Someone hopefully will get the notification. And remember, we may be doing more of that. So if you are on Twitch and especially on YouTube and Facebook as well, you want to set up your notifications so that you are not missing anything. If we do another one of those shows and you like coming on and chat with us, you want to make sure that your notifications set up appropriately in order to take advantage of that. We want to mention again that our special guest Levi Combs has available a page 3 specific adventure entitled The Iron Cobra of Helgrim Hall. Maybe we want to put that link up in the chat for folks out there so that we're still sharing that out. There are still copies of it. It will be limited in nature, a limited run. So there's still some copies left. You want to make sure that you're getting that. It will be a physical copy that you will be able to pick up at the con. So let's support Levi's efforts and grab a copy of The Iron Cobra of Helgrim Hall. The hotel situation, Ron, I don't know if you've been able to ascertain how the two new hotels were added to the block, the True and the Marriott, are selling.
Well, we received a note today that apparently the True is nearly sold out as well.
Okay.
Which means, I'm going to be beating the bushes for probably a 5th hotel once the True sells out, because that'll be 3 sold out hotels and one on the way, another one on the way, and in the Residence Inn.
Right. Yeah. So again, if you have not secured your accommodation plans, and you need to do that, because there's always going to be folks that are looking for a way how to get a hotel in the block. And again, getting a room in the block is going to save you money. So take advantage of that. Again, to Ron's point, the True is probably sold out or nearly sold out. The Marriott Residence in Collegeville, there's likely still some more rooms there, and we'll be probably adding a 5th.
One of the good things about this, though, is if you haven't been to the area, this is outside of Philadelphia proper. It's more in a suburb. Oaks is a suburb. It's in a big shopping mall area, so there's plenty of parking. If you end up staying 10, 15 minutes away and don't have access to a shuttle or something, we are running some shuttles. You won't have any problem driving and finding parking nearby. So it's not like someplace where you have to fight for a spot.
Correct. Yeah, there's plenty of parking on site. Plenty of free parking on site.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to skip down a little bit here. Page Adventure Anthology. Folks, we are looking for submissions regarding the Page Adventure Anthology being put together by Mike Neistel.
It's an encounter. It's the Page Encounter Anthology.
There you go.
We're not running full adventures in it. We're running like smaller encounters.
Yeah.
So like a cool ambush along the side of the road, or last battle in Wizard's Tower, or something like that, right?
Yeah. If you've got an idea that would total something like 1,000 to 2,000 words in length, that is inspired by OSR themes, please reach out to Mike Neistel on Facebook, or if you're not in contact with Mike, we can get you in contact with Mike, and that will be something that will be published. So if you have an encounter idea, get that over to us. Something like 2 to 4 pages in length maximum.
As Matt said, your first encounter or your first publishing credit is always the hardest. This is a great way to be able to say, "Hey, I was published. Hire me."
That's right.
Give me money.
That's right.
A weird thing for me is, and part of this is because I'm terribly unmotivated. I've never actually written anything without having a contract. That's unusual for freelancers. So
Mhm.
I encourage people to get your name on a book. So if you want to write later, you can always point back to it.
Truer words. Yes. Very good point. Ron,
Yes.
do we have more details about the Phil E. Cheesesteak limited edition plushie pre-order?
We do. That pre-order will the pre-ordering for that will start this upcoming Friday, where we will give we will give the URL to those on our live stream so they can get access to one of the 50 limited edition Phil E. Cheesesteak plushies. And again, these plushies, these aren't something mass produced. They're handmade right here in the United States by Angela Norris of the Snuggly Seamstress. There's only going to be 50, and if you want to get a hold of one and not get blocked out, tune in to Friday Night Live next Friday at 9:30.
There you have it, folks.
I heard a rumor that if possible, one of these plushies might make it into the Page charity auction.
It's possible. The approved prototype is on its way here in a box right now, so it may be the prototype. Though I do have this nice shelf behind me, where one might look good there, but assuming Mike Webb was picking up what I was putting down, maybe we'll have like an owlbear head or a dragon head on the wall next to me instead.
We actually got a question. Let's go back a little bit. Matt Archibald has a serious question. What is the submission deadline? And I'm assuming he's talking about the Encounters anthology. Do we have a submission deadline for that?
It's also the 3rd of October.
Okay. So Matt, 3rd of October. So that's coming up. So if you've got an idea, you got about 2 weeks. And then you need to get that over to us. So
I see Phil's roommates with us tonight, Daniel Lawrence.
Yes.
Daniel, how old is that picture, that avatar you're using?
What are you trying to say? Trying to say that he's pulled his college pick?
Yeah, he's put a. No, you cannot store dice in the Phil plushie. He is strictly a plushie. He's full figured.
Yeah, but you still want one regardless, Dan. You're still going to want one regardless.
So
I suppose you could take out the stuffing and put dice in there, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
What kind of monster are you, Ed? Really? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just terrible. Yeah. Not as old as what are you dyeing your hair now, Daniel? What is that?
It's a publicity photo.
Kids made me gray quick. I see. Well, you didn't have quadruplets like Matt Forbeck, so who's Daniel trying to catfish?
Goodness gracious.
We got to get Stan over 4,000. We've lost momentum on the fundraising here.
Well, one of the nice things is the fundraiser
another $100
for 30 days, and people who will watch us tomorrow morning while they're enjoying their coffee or whatever will still have the opportunity to donate.
And we hit 3,700. So I mean,
did we hit 3,700?
Yeah, refresh 3715 is what I'm looking at.
Oh, I see 3615 still.
It's that slow New Jersey internet over there.
Mm-hmm. It's all the monsters.
Yeah, right.
No, power lines.
let's see, what else do I have to have here on my sheet? We did announce a new special guest. Sean Patrick Fannin will be joining us at page 3. And Sean has some writing credits with Savage Worlds, which we were talking to Matt earlier about Pinnacle Entertainment. So Savage Worlds is something that they produce. And Prowlers and Paragons is also another writing credit that he has. And we're very happy to have Sean join us. We're looking forward to hosting him, and so that's another thing you want to look forward to.
He may very well be our guest next week on Friday Night Live. We're still checking it out. Oh, that's a good point, Troy. It does look like Daniel went to Glamour Shots in the mall in the early 1990s and had that picture put up.
Yeah, who didn't?
Well, Phil, I've noticed that on some of the pictures, like some of the page pictures, you still have hair in this region here.
Yeah, those were a couple of years old. Those were some shots when I was running for office here locally. A bunch of us ran as a slate of candidates.
Oh,
we had a professional photographer.
Hold on. We are $35 away from hitting 4,000.
Oh my goodness!
Exciting.
We are $35 away.
Who wants to put us over the edge? Jen, you haven't gotten a chance to say anything in a while. Anything you want to bring up?
Just that I'm getting excited for Paige.
What are you doing on your next show?
Oh, let's see. I haven't streamed in a while, but at Paige, I'm going to be doing a panel all about different techniques that we can use to help the blind have a great gaming experience, like theater of the mind stuff, tactile tools, things like that.
Sounds very interesting.
One of the things that's also come up recently on Facebook that Ron has mentioned is, we have, I'm not wearing my shirt, but we have our diversity initiative. And I think that, one of the things about that panel is that's a great thing because we're trying to open up Paige to make sure that everybody feels welcome. Something that Ron brought up recently is if people
we are over the top, $4,015.
Yay. But if people want to participate in the diversity initiative, they should chime in on Discord or Facebook or whatever, and we're more than welcome to have folks help that committee out.
All right,
cool.
So
looks like it's 4,200 now.
Is it 4,200?
I'm seeing 4,265.
I mean,
wow.
I didn't have to give that extra $35 to push it over the top.
Was it pickles?
The extra $50, I should say.
Now I see 4,390.
4,390.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
you know what that means, Ron? You have to unban pickles now.
No. We're in overtime now. We're past 11 o'clock.
I don't know if I heard 11 was the witching hour.
Ed said so. Ed wants to end by 11 every night.
But I do have to start thinking about getting going. I'm going to visit family over the weekend.
Well, I've got family on the other side of the room here. I believe my mother-in-law's taken out her hearing aids, so she can't hear me, but I don't want to keep her awake with all the lights on here in the office. So, but we are at 4,390.
That's amazing.
Thank you, folks. Really appreciate it. That's awesome.
Oh, Stan says now he's got to write an encounter for the Page book.
There you go. And
We'll
he can
take
put
it.
in an illustration too.
We'll take it. Yeah. Well, that's really great. We were able to kind of shake the tree a little bit here over the stream and get the stand over the line. That's really fantastic.
Well, Wendy Wallace Wade donated $250.
I
I
believe she is
suspect
somebody.
that's somebody not related to the. We'll take credit for it though. That's all right.
I'm pretty sure she's a former coworker.
Yeah, there you go. And we've got 2 anonymous ones, and then some guy named Ron gave another $50. But we are,
And no reason to stop here.
All right. We have anything else?
The only thing that we did, unless we feel differently about it, is we have these Troll Lord gift cards. Is there a trivia question we want to ask? We typically do that or something else in order to offer one out there to the crowd. Like, should it be maybe it could be like a slightly easier one, maybe? I don't know. Sometimes they're pretty difficult.
Looks like John Kovalik gave $250.
Okay.
Jason Cotton gave $100. Numbers just kept rising there.
Well, they could be other people that just saw the link elsewhere, not just on the stream here. Posted other places on the internet.
I don't know. I think our what number are you seeing right now, Phil? I just saw a 41st donation come through.
Let me see. Let me refresh here. I still am sitting at 43.90.
All right. Well, listen. Anything we can do to help our brother Stan, that's
right,
important, and I'm glad we were able to do this and help him out, and thanks to all the people who tuned in. But we're going to see you next week, and we'll announce our guests for next week. We'll confirm them, and we'll announce them soon. I know some upcoming episodes as we head into October. We're going to have Erica Lowe from Ragnarborg's going to be on. We're going to have Scott Legault from Rising Phoenix GameCon up north in the New England area. We're going to have him on as well. And Parlos Leasing will also be with us in October. And I'm thinking we might have a chat with Jay Scott as Virtual Greyhawk Con is upon us, and maybe we'll get him on board for that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I actually haven't got a chance to talk to Jay in a while, so it'd be nice to see his face and have a little bit of a chat.
All right. Well, listen, have a good night, everybody. Jen, you want to take us out?
Sure. So everyone have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you next Friday, same time, same place.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.